All right, well, thank you so much for taking time out of your evening and welcome to our call. My name is Julie. I'll be your host this evening, and then at the end of the call, you're going to hear three amazing women sharing their own personal stories. But we are really excited to share the information that we have with you this evening, and so we're thankful that you are taking your own time to tune in or to watch this on the recording. Myself, along with whoever invited you to this call, is a part of a unique community called the Healthy Living Revolution. And our goal is to come alongside of individuals and families and help them to take their health back in ways that are simple, doable, and fun. And of course, tonight our focus is on pregnancy, all things pregnancy, pre, post, during, all that good stuff. So we're anxious that you're going to hear what we have to share. So I'm just going to start out by reading a quote from Dr. Mitra Ray from her document, Eating for Two. She says, "When sperm meets egg, a miraculous series of biochemical events begin. The DNA of the chromosomes of the original cell divide only 50 times, but results in approximately 100 trillion cells, a number that is greater than all the stars in the Milky Way galaxy. Furthermore, it is estimated that each of these cells has over 6 trillion biochemical reactions per second, and each cell also knows what all the other cells are doing through the body's own infinite intelligence." So that's absolutely phenomenal. And I really just want to take a moment. I start with that quote because I want to take a moment to respect the process that your body maybe is currently going through or has done previously, or that you're excited to do in what is pregnancy. But I also want you to know that with all of those reactions and all of those cells, that the goal and the Mother Nature's design is that that baby will take everything it needs from the mother. So it is important that you are nourished well and that you are well fueled, because it is the design of Mother Nature to take exactly what that baby needs. So we're going to start just about kind of talking about the truth, what's really going on today in America today regarding pregnancy. So 1 of every 9 infants that is born prematurely in the United States preterm rates are the worst of any Western European country, and we compare with Honduras, Kenya, East Timor, and Turkey. The preterm rates in the U.S. have risen 30% since 1981. And because of the increase in obesity, diabetes, and high blood pressure, it seems diet may be a major contributor. There was a study conducted in Norway, and they had a group of mothers who consumed a Western diet. So they had salty and sweet snack foods, white bread, and processed meats, and they themselves had the highest preterm risk. Also, not just pregnant mothers, but all of us today are dealing with a more toxic environment. And our pregnant mothers and babies are really paying a pretty severe price for that. There are toxins from plastics that are present in 99% of pregnant women, and 232 toxic chemicals were found in umbilical cord blood from U.S. newborns. So if we're learning that, diet and nutrition really has a link with preterm labor, let's talk about what makes healthier, what does this nutrition do during pregnancy? And the good news is that healthy advice is the same for before, when you're trying to conceive, when you're pregnant, and after you've had the baby. What you need more of is more whole foods, more fruits, vegetables, berries, and whole grains. And our optimal nutrition supports the growth of the placenta, an increase in blood volume, an increase in cardiac output and fluid levels, our hormonal changes, our changes to breast tissue, as well as alterations to lung, kidney, urinary, and reproductive functions. So all of this is going to happen regardless of how well we're fueling our body. But the better we're fueling our body, the better each of these things will happen during pregnancy. And there is a lot of good news. A diet rich in fruit, according to a study published in the British Medical Journal, a diet rich in fruits and vegetables is found to reduce the risk of preterm labor by 15%. And this is exciting because we can control a diet rich in fruits and vegetables, right? In that same study, and this is my favorite part, they also found that increasing your intake of healthy foods was more beneficial than excluding the less healthy foods. I found this incredibly relieving with my second pregnancy. I had learned a lot about nutrition between my first and second pregnancy. And I totally forgot how intense pregnancy cravings can be. So here I was, I knew how important nutrition was during my pregnancy, but I found myself craving things that really were not very good for me. But I loved knowing that more healthy foods was better than less healthy foods. I think that that's awesome. And there's an interesting study that was done or was published in the Lancet in 2016, and it found that prenatal fruit consumption is correlated with superior cognition in a mother's 1-year-old infants, though there was no effect if the fruit was only fed to the child during the year after birth. Okay, so this is kind of confusing, so let me explain it. Basically, they found that the fruit that you consume while your baby is in utero is more impactful on your baby's cognition at 1 year old than the fruit that your baby itself consumes within their first year of being alive. That's amazing. So that's how important what you're getting in every single day. I mean, you really are. What you're eating is what your baby is eating. And then a study in the American Journal of Obstetrics and Gynecology calculated that for each week a baby stayed in the womb between 32 and 39 weeks, there was a 23% decrease in problems such as respiratory distress, jaundice, seizures, temperature instability, and brain hemorrhages. So if we know that a diet rich in fruits and vegetables increases our likelihood of a term delivery, and we know that each of those extra weeks at the end is so important, it makes sense that we would really make a great diet a focus during pregnancy. So this is why, anyone who's sharing tonight on this call is so excited that at some point this amazing product called Juice Plus was introduced to them. I love to give the backstory of how Juice Plus came to be. It was developed over 30 years ago by a doctor. He was a more holistic practitioner that helped cancer patients juice. And his own father was diagnosed with lymphoma, and he was given 3 weeks to live. So this doctor's name was Dr. Smokey Santillo, and Dr. Smokey knew that he had to make his juice more powerful. So he decided that instead of simply juicing the fruits and vegetables, he was going to take everything with the pits, the peel, the rind, the seeds, even the leaves from the vine whenever possible, and blend it up like in a big Vitamix. He took what was left over and he dehydrated that slurry at a cold temperature to preserve the nutrients. And that resulted in a powder. So that's what's, you can't really see, but that's what's in our capsules. It's full of powder. We call it powdered produce. And he ended up just pumping his dad full of this powder. And his dad lived for 6 more years. But not only did he live, but he had quality of life, which is pretty unique in cancer patients today. And it was at that point that Dr. Smokey realized that he was onto something. So Juice Plus, the product, hit the market 25 years ago. It took him a couple years to find a company like this that would share this product in this manner, because it has to be explained. It truly is Jetson food. It's food in a capsule. It's not a vitamin or a supplement. You can't buy it on a store shelf. And once he found that company, we, like I said, hit the market 25 years ago, which is pretty amazing in this space. But before I tell you what makes this product so unique, I want you just to look at this crazy variety, these different colors and textures of food. There's artichoke, blackberries, cabbage, beets, peaches, apples, acerola cherries. And I want you to think about, the difference it would make to have all of this variety in your body every single day. And then to think about the opportunity to fuel your baby with that variety every single day. Not only, as you're preparing to get pregnant, but then during pregnancy and postnatally for you, and then for your baby when they're 6 months old. So it's just a really amazing opportunity to give our bodies and our babies' bodies what we were designed to have, which is whole food. So there's 3 things that make Juice Plus incredibly unique, and the first is my favorite. This is food. Like I said, it has a nutrition label, if you can see that. It is not a vitamin or a supplement label. You cannot overdose on it. There's no warning label. If you could eat food, you can eat Juice Plus, and I love that. That really made sense to me. So it's full of phytonutrition, not isolated synthetic ingredients. It's also non-GMO, dairy-free, and gluten-free. It has an NSF certification. NSF is a third party that validates that what we say is in our product is and nothing more. It also ensures that these powders, which is really important if you're pregnant, that these powders are free of any herbicides, pesticides, fungicides, yeast, mold, bacteria, and heavy metals. And then finally, when the product hit the market 25 years ago, people started to have unique experiences. So they decided that they wanted to see, what is this doing on human beings with blood drawn? And we are the most researched nutritional product in the world. We actually have 38 published studies. We have 9 underway. And we've been researched at MD Anderson Cancer Center, Brigham Young, Vanderbilt, Yale, some of the most prestigious facilities here in the States and abroad. So this is not done at like a Juice Plus lab, and we are, published in some of the most prestigious journals. So with that being said, I want to take a second to highlight this really amazing study that was done by an OBGYN out of Mississippi, since we were focusing on pregnancy for this talk. So Dr. Odom shared Juice Plus with his pregnant patients, and he did a retrospective study. So he looked back at 178 of his patients who were taking Juice Plus during pregnancy, and he compared them to 178 of his partner's patients who were not taking Juice Plus. And this is what he found. For delivery prior to 37 weeks, the Juice Plus group was at 0%, and his partner's group was at 20%. For preeclampsia, the Juice Plus group was at 0%, and his partner's group was at 21%. For birth weight under 5.5 pounds, the Juice Plus group was at 1%, and the partner's group was at 12%. For admission to the NICU, the Juice Plus group was at 0%, and his partner's group was at 10%. And then for respiratory distress syndrome, the Juice Plus group was at 0%, and his partner's group was at 8%. Now, these results are phenomenal and amazing, and I mean, truly, there's no way to actually describe them. But we are not here to tell you that if you take Juice Plus during pregnancy, you won't have delivery prior to 37 weeks, preeclampsia, or admission to the NICU. But what we do know is that food is fuel. And for whatever you or your baby may go through, if you are better fueled, you are better prepared to handle anything. You know, we know that there is nothing, no disease, no infection. There is nothing that good nutrition doesn't help and poor nutrition doesn't hurt. So that's what's super exciting, is you have this opportunity to just fuel your body really well, regardless of what is to happen. So I want to take a moment to really talk about the difference between a multivitamin and food, okay? So this is the label of your standard multivitamin. It's full of isolated, synthetic, man-made ingredients. This is an ingredient list of 400 named nutrients that are found in an apple. They've actually found over 20,000 unique nutrients in one apple. They found over 25,000 in one blueberry and over 14,000 in one avocado, which is insane. Back when we thought we just had vitamin deficiencies is when we came up with the multivitamin. But what we're learning is that whole food, like the apple and the blueberry and the avocado, they contain much more than a vitamin could ever contain. And all of these unique nutrients work synergistically together in our bodies to do what they're designed to do, and in our babies, you know, in all humans. So what's really interesting when it comes to pregnancy is that years ago, we saw that pregnant women, we didn't have enough folate in our diet. Well, we get folate from leafy greens. So we decided that we were going to kind of bridge the gap with folic acid, which is an isolated synthetic man-made form of folate. And what's really unique about that is that, of course, we could just eat more leafy greens, right? And ideally get some more folate. But I didn't know with my first pregnancy is that there is no research showing that folic acid is beneficial during pregnancy. I had no idea. So that's where I had so much peace of mind with my second pregnancy, going with a product that was thoroughly researched and vetted and researched on pregnant patients. And it made sense to me that I was able to get this whole food, all of these unique nutrients together, and kind of avoid the isolated synthetic form. I remember the first time I took a prenatal with my first pregnancy, you know, my stomach got upset. My urine turned bright yellow because my body was trying to get rid of this synthetic, you know, overdose of folic acid. So it's really relieving that you have an option. You could still take your prenatal. We're not telling you not to do that. But it's relieving to know that you have an option of getting just all of those nutrients from whole food instead of isolated synthetic ingredients. So this is our other product. We have our core product, which is our capsules, our fruits, vegetable, berry, and berry capsules. And then we have this amazing option in the form of our Juice Plus Complete Shakes. So they come in chocolate and vanilla. They're absolutely delicious. They're low glycemic, so they stabilize your blood sugar, which is really important all the time, but especially during pregnancy. They're vegan and non-GMO, gluten and dairy-free. They're full of plants and powerful prebiotic fibers and oligosaccharides. Oligosaccharides actually help to heal the lining of your gut. So that's really important at a time when most people are dealing with leaky gut issues. But what this provides you with is really just a simple snack or meal that you can take. Obviously, we have an abundance of macronutrition in our country, but very little of it is of high quality. So for a pregnant mother or a nursing mother, it's so important that you can have quick, high quality nutrition available to you. And that's where our shakes come in. I want to touch for a second on those prebiotic fibers and oligosaccharides, which help to make your gut more healthy. We're actually learning that during vaginal delivery, when the baby goes through the vaginal canal, is actually when the baby is coated and the baby gets the mother's gut bacteria, which basically is the baby inheriting the mother's immune system. So it's really interesting now for C-section patients. They're actually finding ways to take some of the fluid from the vaginal canal and coat the baby to help the baby's immune system early on. I know I'm talking to a lot of women, so I can just get really real right here. But isn't that cool to think, well, what if you could take that time during pregnancy to really bolster your gut, to really give your gut exactly what it needs? Your good gut bacteria is fed by plant matter. It's fed by fruits and vegetables. So imagine if you could have these shakes daily, if you could have the encapsulated fruits and vegetables every single day and just get your gut so strong, because that baby is going to get your gut, which is amazing to me. And then finally, we have this amazing product called our Juice Plus Omega Blends. In general, Americans are deficient in high quality omegas. We're starting to learn actually that in pregnancy, they are more important than ever. In fact, there's something called postnatal depletion. I talked to you about how the baby's going to take whatever it needs from the mom. So much of our supplementation during pregnancy is actually for us. It's not usually for the baby, but it's because that baby's going to suck us dry if they need to. But especially in the form of omegas, that baby's brain is developing, which is mostly fat. So they're going to take as much as they can from the mom. And they're actually finding out that it can take the mom up to 10 years to replace the omegas that were taken from her during pregnancy. There's also newer research that is showing that a reduced level of omegas in mothers postpartum is correlated with an increase in postpartum depression. So it is very important that you are getting a high quality amount of omegas into your body before you conceive, during pregnancy, after pregnancy. What's really cool about our omega is that we decided to skip the fish, because the fish do have some issues. Number one, they're more toxic, and we started out kind of talking about some of the toxicity that we're exposed to today. And number two, it's not sustainable. It takes 2 to 3 pounds of fish to make 1 ounce of fish oil. But what's really interesting is that the fish themselves actually get their omegas from the algae. So we just went straight to the algae, and we made it a totally plant-based omega and also a full spectrum. So it's omega 3, 5, 6, 7, and 9, because we believe that synergy in the omegas is powerful in your body. It's also the only capsule that is cold pressed in the market, which helps our seeds are cold pressed and our capsules are cold pressed, which means that the quality of our omega oil is not degraded. Also, it tastes like orange, which is awesome for any nauseous pregnant mamas, because you don't have to deal with the fish oil flavor coming back up. So at this point, I'm just going to close out with this amazing quote from Dr. Richard Du Bois. He was head of infectious disease in Atlanta, Georgia. He's been named America's top doc, and he was one of the first of now thousands of healthcare professionals to recommend Juice Plus. And what some people will say when they learn about Juice Plus is, how come my doctor hasn't told you about it? Well, just know there are many doctors and many OBGYNs that do recommend Juice Plus. But even though we've been on the market for 25 years, not everyone is familiar with us just yet. So if your doctor doesn't know, tell them about Juice Plus, please. But do know that there are many healthcare professionals that recommend it. But Dr. Richard Du Bois said, there is nothing available anywhere else in the world with or without a prescription that has been clinically proven to do what Juice Plus does, which is absolutely amazing. So at this point, I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and I'm going to ask my friend Allie, if I see her. Yeah, Allie, are you able to unmute yourself and just share your story with us? Oh, I think you're still muted. Okay, good.
Hi, guys. Thank you so much, Julie, for having me on. I'm so excited to share with you guys. Yeah, okay, I am showing up. Sorry, I was trying to wrangle 3 kids into bed in the past 10 minutes, so I was like, I think I'll be fine. But my name is Allie Votruba. I am a pediatric cardiac intensive care nurse at St. Louis Children's Hospital. I am a pediatric heart-lung transplant coordinator, and then I'm a mom of 3 little kids. I have a 5-year-old, a 4-year-old, and then a newly 10-month-old baby. So I am right in the trenches with all of you, or probably most of you. And there is nothing that makes me happier than talking to moms about pregnancy and kids and the impact of our choices on them. And so I'll just back you up to my story a little bit. My oldest, when I got pregnant with my oldest son, I developed hyperemesis. And I don't know how many of you know what that is, but it is an intense vomiting that is related to pregnancy. So I was throwing up between 40 and 50 times a day for approximately 24 weeks. And that's a long time to throw up a lot. So I was really sick, and I was working a really high stress, high intensity job. So looking back at that time, I cannot imagine how I legitimately grew a healthy person without the nutrition from Juice Plus. No prenatal would have landed in my body. I could never have tolerated it. I never had enough food in my body to handle, for my stomach to handle that. I don't know how many of you have taken a prenatal or any vitamin on an empty stomach, but it usually will wreck your stomach. It will tear it up. And that was something that didn't really raise a red flag to me until I knew more. And the more I knew, I was like, that's really interesting. So in all my years of school, we never really talked about nutrition and disease. We never talked about health. We didn't talk about growing a healthy baby. We didn't talk about nourishing our bodies. We talked about disease. We talked about medicine, and that's really what I knew a lot about, was disease and medications and trauma and how to deal with these incidences. But when it came to growing and nourishing a healthy baby, I really had to pour into this community. And this is the community that raised me up and gave me life in that time of my life. And I'm so, so grateful for it. Because now, looking back at where I was, I started taking Juice Plus long before I was even pregnant. Let me just sideline there. My mother-in-law, who I was like kind of dating this boy I met in a bar, and Juice Plus started showing up at my apartment, and it was his mom saying, well, this girl is the future mother of my grandbabies. She better be eating Juice Plus. So she started shipping it out to New York City, where I was dating half the city, but that's neither here nor there. So I had been eating Juice Plus for a long time with having zero understanding of what it really was. And it wasn't until I got pregnant with him that I really started paying attention. But fast forward, my oldest is almost 6, and out of 6, 4, and 10-month-old, we have yet to have a sick visit in my house. And I credit Juice Plus with that wholeheartedly for a couple of reasons. First of all, it has given my kids the nutritional foundation and the nutritional insurance that I never could have afforded for them. I couldn't have afforded it to them because I don't have the patience to grow a garden where I know that we need to harvest and vine ripen things locally, which I wasn't doing. Nor do I have the bandwidth in my day to create a vine ripened 15 variety fruit and vegetable diet that they'll legitimately consume on a regular basis. They're really good eaters. They're not that great of eaters. They're not superhuman. None of us are. So that was one thing. But the other thing that I credit Juice Plus to is the community that it wrapped me up in, that gave me a ton of education on things that I never would have known. So we all know how important car seats are. And that's because someone in your life, whether it be a friend, a pediatrician, a parent, somebody told you that that car seat was so important that it will change your kid's life. It will either be the thing that gets them killed or the things that save their life. Someone told you that. And that's really important and really valuable information. And food is the same way. And if someone had never told me that, I would never have known. I would have thought that food was what it was, and it was calories, and it was macros, and it was carbs and proteins and fats. And there is so much more to food than that. There is so much power inside of foods that, quite honestly, our science has not uncovered. We've identified, I think Julie said this, 14,000 phytonutrients inside of an avocado. We have named 141 of them. We haven't even named the rest of them. We have no idea what it does. Food is so powerful, we haven't even scratched the surface. But every single year, more and more data comes out. And the more data that comes out, the more we see that food is the game changer. So Julie touched on it really, really briefly, and I'm going to touch on it really briefly. But the new data from, I want to say March of 2019, it's brand new, has come out that says that they think the number one thing we as a society can do to fight against postpartum depression and postpartum anxiety is omega supplementation. That baby sucks those omegas from our brains. And that depleted brain, that depleted omega-filled brain, is likely part of this huge increase in postpartum depression and postpartum anxiety. Now, don't get me wrong. I think there's a huge social impact of this with the fact that moms are not being supported appropriately. But just physiologically, there's a huge push on the fact that moms are nutritionally depleted. So our babies are coming out okay, but it is robbing our moms of what they need. And you guys, you cannot love on and support and take care of your family appropriately if you are robbed from. If you don't have all of the things that fill you up, you cannot fill up your family. So I could seriously go on and on and on about this. Oh, shoot. And I went way longer than I'm supposed to. Sorry.
Okay. I'd love to listen to you go on and on and on about it. Next time we'll just highlight her for 30 minutes. No, thank you so much, Allie, for sharing. At this point, I'm going to throw it to my friend Kristen, who just had her third little one and her first Juice Plus baby. So go ahead, Kristen, share your story.
Thanks. All right. Well, yeah. So what Allie was just talking about, nutritionally depleted, that was totally me. My first two. By the way, my 3-week-old is here. So I hope he doesn't start crying. And 2, I hope that I can make sense with my sleep-deprived self. So I apologize ahead of time. Anyway, so yeah, I was introduced to Juice Plus after my second child was born. And I started having some issues with my health, and it was really frustrating to me. It started to kind of dictate my life. I didn't want to leave the house with my kids because I was having these weak spells where, like, middle of the day, I would almost pass out from exhaustion. And so I didn't know what was going on. And as Allie just explained, I was probably really nutritionally depleted. So someone told me about Juice Plus, and I decided, you know what, it's just fruits and veggies, and so I'm going to go ahead and try it. And it really helped my recovery. I'm sorry this is happening. It really helped my recovery. Sorry, guys. And again, I didn't realize it then, but my body was, I had 2 babies. I had nursed 2 babies for a year, and my body was just struggling, physically, nutritionally, mentally. So anyway, I saw a huge improvement when I added the trio and then later on the omegas into my own diet. And then, so this is my 3rd child, and I did get to have Juice Plus, and I used it as my prenatal, so I doubled up. And I could tell a difference in my own energy. In the 2nd and 3rd trimester, I wasn't needing to nap. Like, if both my kids were down and I could nap, I was like, I'll lay down and nap. But I wasn't needing to nap like I desperately did in my first 2 pregnancies. So I had more energy, and I was even chasing after the other 2 kids. And then to me, it was very clear how much Juice Plus affected this 3rd pregnancy was during my recovery. So these last 3 weeks, I did have to have C-sections, but I just noticed how much quicker my body was recovering. Just, you know, how I felt, my healing. And like I said, I have 2 other kids that are here at home, and I'm a lot older than I was with my first 2. So I was like, okay, this right here is another thing that I can chalk up to Juice Plus, because I did not feel this good after my other 2 recoveries. So yeah, let me look over here. I did make notes because I was like, I don't trust my brain right now. And finally, having this during my pregnancy just gave me peace of mind. Like Julie said, like Allie said, that you are not only getting this into your body because of how much this baby is sucking from you, but also that you're getting this into your child's foundation, nutritional foundation. And I loved that. I took prenatals with my other 2, and they're fine. They also take Juice Plus now, so I'm very thankful for that. But just knowing that he has gotten that in him since, you know, he was developing in my womb, and also now through my breast milk. I love that he is getting that, and that, and that I'm getting it as well, because clearly I need all the help I can get right now.
I remember Allie giving a talk in front of like 300 people or something, and she's like, my omega stores are depleted. You just have to give me grace. So it's all good. Thank you so much for being vulnerable. No, you're awesome. No, you're being vulnerable and you're being real. And I know there was something really cool about your breast milk too, but I can't remember what it was, but it was a beautiful color and rich in nutrition. So Katie is a first-time expectant mother. So if you could please unmute yourself and share your story with us, Katie, we'd love to hear from you.
Yes. So I'm pregnant with my first. I'll be 19 weeks. And I will say that this pregnancy has been rough. I do not have HG like Allie did, but I have been vomiting like 1 to 3 times a day, even well into my second trimester. So I've been taking Juice Plus for almost 4 years. And prior to even getting pregnant, I suffered from a whole bunch of like GI issues. I had terrible acid reflux. I had migraines, terrible allergies. I was sick all the time. So I already had this foundation, and it's totally dramatically changed my health for the better. But since being pregnant, Julie, you mentioned like pregnancy cravings are, they're intense, and you get what you can keep down. So I feel very confident with the nutrition that I am getting from Juice Plus, because I'm not able to, unfortunately, eat my regular diet of fruits and veggies. I can eat a lot of fruit, but vegetables haven't been sitting nearly as well. So, and the omegas. So pregnancy brain is a real thing. Like I feel like when I don't take my omegas, I can totally tell, because I am not, my brain's just not working properly. So seeing all this research and like solidifying all of that just, again, gives me confidence that I'm flooding my body with the proper nutrition for this baby, because the baby is getting everything it needs. And even I was talking to my doctor my last appointment, and told her like, I haven't taken a prenatal at all. And she's like, do what you can. You're getting the nutrition that you need. The prenatal's for you. So if you're getting the nutrition that you need, baby's fine. So hearing that from my own doctor, again, gave me so much confidence that this is building a foundation, and I'm obviously flooding my body with proper nutrition as well as the baby. So
awesome. Congratulations, Katie. We're so happy that you're expecting, and we're excited that you're sharing with us.
Yeah.
So at this point, I think we did pretty good, ladies. We're only 3 minutes late, so that's not too bad. At this point, we really just want to thank you for joining us and hearing these amazing stories tonight. We really ask you to do one of 3 things. If you're expecting, or trying to conceive, or just had a baby, maybe you're just fired up to add in more fruits and vegetables to your diet. And if that's where you're at, we're totally happy that that's what you got out of our talk. Number 2, if you're interested in adding in Juice Plus, we'd love to help you do so. It's the most affordable and simple way that we know to add a massive amount of nutrition into busy families. We also have an amazing program where any adult who takes Juice Plus can sponsor any child for free, age 4 through 18, up to 4 years. So make sure you ask the person who invited you or shared this call with you about that. And then finally, if you learned this information and you thought of women in your life who you believe deserve to know about this, that's how we all feel. Everyone who you heard from believes that other people in their life deserve to know about this awesome solution. So if you're thinking of other women in your life and you'd love to get this info to them, please let us know that, because that really is the mission that we are on. So at this point, I will stop